pleasure to actually have got you to join Circle with us. And I want you to tell us a little bit more about you, about the backstory behind what you do, why you do it, and why it's so important to you. Because, let's get to know our Circle partner.
Well, Alex, firstly, thanks very much for having us. Really good. Having me, should I say. And obviously allowing us to join the Circle, which is going to be a new trend, I think, isn't it?
Oh, mate, listen, and to be fair, it's been created to build a community, but to also connect the community. And what's been dead nice is the partners are starting to chat to each other and are actually starting to build relationships and do stuff together, just the partners, let alone the members.
Yeah.
And this is, ultimately, I use the analogy that your health is your wealth. And it fits in with
absolutely.
It fits in with what you do, because obviously you look to, and I'll let you tell everybody, what is it you do?
Yeah. So, in short, we're an insurance broker, but we specialise in our sweet spot is private healthcare, private medical insurance. A couple of reasons that commercially and as a business, which we don't need to touch on, but the thing we're really we're emotional about and want to drive reasons forward for the private healthcare, because I think it's in the public domain. The NHS system is strained.
Oh yeah, massively, mate. It's not just strained. It's
of
not in a great place.
Of course, and listen, the NHS for emergencies and things like that are absolutely second to none. They're brilliant. It's just the stuff whereby people are waiting for whether it be some form of diagnostic, some scanning, surgery. That's where the pain points are for people on the street, Joe Public, whereby they need access to care, and it's a non-emergency case.
Yeah.
And there's problems there. There.
Yeah, and to be fair, in an ideal world, yes, the NHS would be run, and running a lot more smoothly, but it's not, and it's only been deteriorating over the last few years.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, I can basically advocate your having private medical, health insurance with you, because Marcus has just had an injury, in the last few months, and it's basically a phone call connection. He's had an MRI. It's all gone through. It's all been done rapid, and it's like, well, if I didn't have that in place, one, it wouldn't have happened. Two, we would have been waiting for ever and a day. Or three, I would have then had to go and pay for a private, MRI scan, etc., and it gets costly.
And I think they are your three options. You either suck it up and wait.
Yeah.
Or, two options: suck up and wait, or you pay privately, which is expensive. And testament to that is one of my friends, well, a couple of people really, more so recently, one of my friends, whereby we spoke about healthcare, private healthcare 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe. And it's one of them things, isn't it, where people think, well, I'll look at it, and time gets in its way. He's a business owner, so he's got a young family, so there's a magnitude of things which get in the way of making them decisions. Them being a couple of them. And lo and behold, he has a problem with his hip. He then has that investigated, pays privately, private consultant, should I say. And lo and behold, it's 2 brand new hips he has to have. And he...
What was that bill?
I wouldn't like...
You wouldn't like to say?
25,000-30,000.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a guesstimate, but I think if you go looking up...
2 new hips.
Yeah, 2 new hips. Obviously, there's a consultation and there's surgery, the actual hip itself, the rehabilitation of getting back on your feet, hospital stays, and that's where we are with it all. And I'm sure if we had a proper conversation, we had his time again, he'd be like, the cost of healthcare, which is pretty insignificant for him really, to cover him, his family and his children, compared to the cost he's spent having his hips done, £25,000-30,000. His policy probably cost him £1,500, £2,000 a month. Sorry, £2,000 a year, £1,500, £2,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a long old roll to recoup that money back, isn't it, from paying for it privately and that. So, we work in this line of work, and we see it. We see the benefits it does have, and that probably extends to having the ability to see a GP. So obviously, a lot of the healthcare providers now have an attached GP facility.
Oh right, okay.
So you know, everywhere's different, but our local GP practice is a challenge trying to get into them.
Okay.
One, trying to obviously have that first phone call, then you're getting booked in 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Potentially. Which is a strain. If you need access to care and you're not feeling very well, you want to be in seeing someone.
Well, let's put it into reality. We're all very impatient.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, we're all probably roll along until we've got a problem. But as soon as we've got a problem, we want it dealing with.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the reality. That's the reality.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
especially when it's your health.
Well, let's be honest. Yeah, it's the most worrying thing, isn't it? It's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
If you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything.
Correct. And obviously, just on from that, I said as I tried to elaborate a little bit. So, a lot of the healthcare providers now have a GP facility, so you can log in, go through a triage system on your phone, book an appointment, convenient to you, see a GP, and then obviously they will create a medical pathway for you, whether it's a little bit of a prescription where you can go and pick up from your local pharmacy, or off the back of that there is actually a need to go and see a consultant and further on from that. So, you know, the private system and the NHS system work exactly the same. So naturally, you know, if you were looking to use the NHS, you'd go and see your GP.
Yeah.
They'd have to create a medical pathway for you to go and see a consultant, or whatever maybe they'll refer you on. Same thing as the private system. You see this GP, and then off you go again into the private system. It's just obviously just a lot faster, a lot quicker. As I said to you, going back to my friend who had his hips done, I think if he was waiting to wait for the NHS, it was 18 to 24 months. He couldn't hold that. He couldn't He could never wait on for that time because he's got a young family, and he recognised he wasn't able to do things with his family. And listen, that's just one isolated case. There's a number of people we speak to, day in, day out, week in, week out, whereby they come to us, and I'm always inquisitive when people come to us who haven't had private healthcare before, and they've been referred into us, or you know they've managed to get into us in one way or another, and I always question, why are you asking for healthcare? And there's a trigger point somewhere, whereby something's happened to either them, a member of the family, someone they know, and again, more so recently, I had someone we spoke to, someone we spoke to. Alright, carry on. Sorry. Someone we spoke to come to us, I want to look at some healthcare. Okay, that's fine. Why? Why is that? Why have you thought today's the day we need to speak about healthcare? And again, lo and behold, he had healthcare previously. This gentleman in question for his business, he got rid of it for one reason or another. I don't know why. Whether he thought it was a cost cutting exercise, or I don't know. But he lapsed his policy. 6, 8, 10 weeks ago, his son playing football at a good standard, knee, bang, ACL done. An issue for him because I think he's got some aspirations for his son to maybe play, maybe not professional but semi-professional at a decent standard. And that's it. He has this incident playing football. Tries to get into the NHS. Well, he's into the NHS pathway. 18, 24 months to be sorted out. He can't wait that long. And another case whereby I have to go pay privately. So I think last week before, I stay in touch with him. Just a bit of a welfare check in really to make sure he's alright, his son's okay, and he's in a bit of pain naturally from his procedure, but he's had to fund that himself to get his lad back on his feet.
It's crazy, isn't it, that so many of us have an option of insuring or taking or basically looking down this way.
Absolutely.
But we don't look at it until after an event. We basically wait until something's happened and then we try and fix it.
Absolutely.
Whereas it's all about prevention, isn't it? What you do is prevention.
Correct.
Because you're providing something that covers not only you but your family, your children, your partner. So it's like, well, hold on a minute, for the cost of paying a policy and having something in place that can actually provide you with that safety, the security of mind. It's so beneficial.
And then do you know what? It's not rewarding, but it is rewarding because it's rewarding when people come to you and they have a need for care. And they get access to it. Maybe your son's a good example whereby he's had an issue, injury, and they have that access to care whereby within a week or two,
Yeah.
they've had a consultation, had an MRI scan, they've had another consultation to say, right, okay, this is what we've found.
Yeah.
This is our next pathway.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
attention.
Exactly.
And you think, well, it's not great that you need to do this.
No, but it's a prime example of the system working.
Uh-huh.
And had Marcus had to go through the NHS, it would have been, and I'm guessing, but it would have been 6 months probably, maybe by the time he got an MRI.
Absolutely.
And that's just because they're so up against it.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. That's it.
I dread to think what the statistics are like for the NHS compared to private, but I know that one of the other providers that do mental health counselling, they're saying that they're seeing people inside 48 hours, and the NHS are 6 weeks. 6 weeks just to see somebody, just to see somebody, and they're starting the treatment inside 48 hours. So you've got a huge differential.
Of course you have. And as you said, it's just the for the NHS, it's just a complete strain they have.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, and the NHS is amazing.
Of course, it is absolutely.
It's not got the funding.
Faultless.
It's not got
Faultless.
everything's up against it at the moment.
Absolutely. And people will have their opinions about private healthcare insurance, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But whether people think, well, it's against the NHS. In my opinion, it's absolutely not against the NHS. It's actually complementing the NHS because
it takes some of the strain away from them.
Exactly that.
It takes some of the strain away.
Correct. And also off the GP's desk as well, whereby you try to get to see your GP. Whether they're inundated with appointment needs and managing their own diaries and the welfare of their people they need to look after. You have the ability to circumnavigate that for your healthcare provider, but you are circumnavigating. Yes, of course you are, but you're just removing a caseload or a case off his desk, or their desk, or her desk.
Yeah, exactly.
So naturally, it's what we do. We sell it. We're all for it because again, yes, it's paid for, but we see the value in it and the benefit of it, and people, using that benefit.
Yeah. So tell me, you're a dad. You've got a young daughter. Is that why you've sort of decided that the broking group, the private healthcare, basically advocating people to, not wait until there's been a problem, but to basically, look after themselves, from the beginning, step by step, have something in place? Is that what's driven you to?
I'd say that's one of the reasons of why we do it.
Yeah.
Why we do it is obviously it's to protect you and your loved ones. Of course it is, but it's it goes outside of that. Obviously, is looking at speaking to business owners, HR directors, head of people, whereby they see the value in it because being a business is an expensive game. Trying to look after your members of staff, etc.
Because let's flip it into a business perspective and in a business way of looking at it. If I have got somebody who's going to be off for 6 months waiting for something, or if I've got them insured and it's got the private cover and they're getting seen within inside 2 weeks, I could have them back within inside 2 months.
Exactly that.
So you've got 6 months, 2 months. You've got 4 months worth of productivity, and so from a business perspective, it actually makes sense.
Absolutely. And there was forgive me exactly when it was, but there's some Google analytics whereby private medical insurance was a top 10 searched item on Google. So obviously it's in the domain, people are aware of it, and it is a growing
need.
It's a growing need. Of course it is, yeah.
And you take a step back and you go, there's nothing wrong with the NHS, and we both agree on that. But what we're saying is actually there is a need for something outside of the NHS,
absolutely,
or to complement alongside the NHS.
Yeah.
And I can advocate it firsthand because of I'm insured with you, personally, and my son Marcus. Yeah. And Marcus has just had a shoulder injury through rugby, and came straight to you. He's now had an MRI, he's had a diagnosis, and it's all happened inside a matter of days.
Yeah. And
it's like, well, I haven't had to pay privately for an MRI. He hasn't had to go through and wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. I don't know, what the stats are, to be seen and to be scanned. Yeah. And that's the peace of mind. Yeah. And it's looking after your health in terms of yourself, but your loved ones, your family members. And I guess the big thing is, it's having it in place you know, because there is nothing like, would you insure your car? Do you insure your car?
Well, sadly, yeah.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But everybody insures
Yeah,
the
of course
car.
they do, yeah.
Would you insure your house?
Well, a good element or good comparison now, Alex, is forgive me, I haven't got a stat here, but there's a stat going round or was going round regarding people's pets versus themselves.
Right.
So there was people who prefer to insure the pets, the dogs, cats, whatever it may be, rabbits. What other animals can you keep? Alpacas, llamas,
turtles,
yeah, maybe
yeah.
so, yeah. So there was a stat there whereby people were prepared to insure them over themselves, which is you look at the data or you look at it, you think that's absolutely crazy because you go down.
But I guess everybody accepts, don't they, that and everybody does insure the pet. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Why aren't people insuring themselves? Because let's be honest, you insure your car, you insure your house, so why on earth you insure your pets? Why aren't you looking after yourself? Why aren't you giving yourself that cover for your love, for you, your family members? Yeah. So,
and just maybe working back, you mentioned about your son Marcus. I of course I've got private healthcare. Well, it'd be daft if I didn't have it. So anyway, so we have healthcare. And listen, I had a bit of an issue with my back, and there was a family friend who sadly passed away, and it all started off the back. It all started from having an issue with his back. I'm not sure if what is how much it was investigated, etc. But sadly, it got too far and he still passed. So I hear this, and I have this problem with my back.
Yeah.
I'm actually like, oh God, I need to probably have a look at it. I suppose just dismissing it because I'm relatively active, so I'll do some form of sports or gym or whatever it may be. So I thought it was straight off the back of this, but it's not going away. I've had a bit of this time I had a bit of sports therapy, so sports therapy, so massages, etc. And it's subsiding and it's coming back. So I thought, well, I best probably investigate it further. Yeah. So rang the insurer, and this is timeline wise. Rang my insurer on the Monday because the weekend had gone by, and I've deliberated about it. And the weekend had gone by. I thought, I best probably get this checked out. So Monday, rang my insurer. 2 days booked in at a facility for consultation. So there's a week had passed from the Monday to the following Monday, and I couldn't. They actually offered me an appointment on the Friday, but I couldn't go there because of work commitments. Went to see a consultant on the Monday. The following Friday, in for an MRI scan on my back. By the way, have you been in an MRI tunnel before?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary. And all the noise and all that. They put these headphones on you whereby you think you can.
Yeah. The first one, I never had headphones. The first
really?
one I ever did. Yeah. And it was like clump.
Yeah. It's the first time I've experienced it, and I don't really. So
it's
hopefully
not
never
something I
experience it again.
enjoy.
No.
Yeah.
So I had my MRI scan. Again, 4 or 5 days later, I'm back to see the consultant, and she advised me I had a bit of a tear in. So nothing significant, by the way, just a tear in, whatever it may be. I had a few more, a bit of acupuncture, and a bit of sports therapy, and it subsided. But dare I say, if I'd have gone to my GP or gone to the GP and said I've got this problem with my back, have a bit of treatment, whether it be medicine or whatever it may be, or have some ibuprofen or painkillers, blah blah blah. You re-engage back with your GP, and they obviously refer you into maybe they refer you into the NHS. Then timescales, I don't know when I would have been seen. I have no idea. And had it been something sinister, I don't know. And again, this isn't about a witch hunt for the NHS, by the way. My cause of concern was a bit of back pain, and would that have been seen as an emergency need? I don't know. But luckily I had the facility through the healthcare system the private healthcare system I could use, and getting to see someone, and peace of mind, Alex. That's what gave me peace of mind, because naturally in the back of my head I said there's been a life event that's happened with a family friend. You don't know, do you? You generally do not know.
No.
And, people think, oh, I'll be alright, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll be alright, but are we alright? or
true.
is it going to be all right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's worth putting to chance.